Jonas Lettinen gripped the steering wheel tighter as his old Saab jolted over yet another pothole on the rugged road leading deep into the Finnish forest. He was headed to Karna, a tiny village lost among the endless pine forests of Lapland. Locals whispered about the strange occurrences in the area. Eerie humming sounds at night, animals vanishing without a trace, hunters returning with empty eyes, unable to explain what had happened to them. As a journalist, Jonas was used to myths and legends, but something about this story unsettled him. When he finally reached the village, a thick mist greeted him, rolling along the ground like a living thing. The houses appeared old and worn, their wooden frames leaning as if nature itself was trying to erase them from existence. Near one of the houses stood a woman wrapped in a woolen shawl. Her gaze was empty, but her smile, strangely knowing, made Jonas uneasy. "Are you the journalist?" Her voice came unexpectedly close. "Yes, Jonas Lettinen. I'd like to speak with the locals about the strange occurrences," he replied, extending his hand. The woman did not move. "You've already come too close," she whispered and turned away. A chill ran down Jonas's spine. He checked into the village's only inn, but sleep eluded him that night. Around midnight, the humming began. It was deep, rumbling, as if coming from beneath the earth itself. The vibration sent shivers through his bones, making his stomach churn. The next day, Jonas wandered to the old churchyard to examine the gravestones. Many were long abandoned, their inscriptions worn away by time. But here and there, fresh footprints pressed into the damp soil. Someone had been visiting. That's where he met Ilma, an old woman who had lived in the village her entire life. She told him the legend. "Every time it calls, and whoever hears it is lost," Ilma whispered. There was a quiet certainty in her voice, and Jonas felt the weight of her words settle over him. As he walked through the village, he noticed the people moving strangely, their expressions vacant, their gestures sluggish, as if they were mere shadows of themselves. He attempted to strike up conversations, but most only stared at him in silence. Only one old man spoke, muttering, "Don't open the door, no matter what you hear." Jonas and a local hunter, Veli, decided to explore an abandoned military bunker on the outskirts of the village, a place no one wanted to talk about. In an old wartime archive, they found a map marking a network of underground tunnels stretching far beyond the village. When they finally pried open the rusted hatch and climbed down, the air inside was thick, pressing against them as if the bunker itself wanted to push them back. The walls were covered in symbols, eerily shifting whenever they weren't looking directly at them. Jonas discovered a journal from an old scientist detailing the Nameless One, an entity discovered deep beneath the earth. In one of the rooms, they stumbled upon a rusted chair with broken restraints, its surroundings covered in deep claw marks and old bloodstains. Something, or someone, had been here, trying desperately to escape. Veli hesitated, suggesting they turn back, but Jonas was too drawn in. They pressed forward into a massive chamber where, at its center, something was encased in layers of metal and glass. It moved. It was waking up. When it opened its eyes, the hum erupted into a deafening wail, piercing into their minds. Jonas lost all sense of time and space. He saw things that should not exist, people he had never met, yet somehow knew. He saw himself standing in the same room, but with vacant, lifeless eyes, like the hunters who had returned from the woods. And in that moment, he understood. The entity was already inside him. Jonas and Veli fled, but reality itself had changed. The village was silent, but they heard whispers, saw figures moving behind dark windows. Ilma was waiting for them, her gaze no longer human. "It has been set free," she said. "There is no way back." They attempted to leave, but the road no longer led out of the village. The forest had closed in around them. Time lost meaning. Forced to return, they uncovered an old priest's diary, revealing how, centuries ago, rituals had been conducted here to keep the entity in prison. But now the seals had broken. The entity no longer hid. On the night before their final attempt to escape, the village awoke, but not as it should have. The windows of the houses glowed with an unnatural crimson light. Shadows slithered beneath doorways. The villagers Jonas had seen earlier were no longer human. Slowly, they turned their heads toward the visitors. The hum grew into an earth-shaking roar. The house is warped, turning into grotesque, pulsating masses of flesh. The trees writhed as if alive, and the sky fractured, revealing an abyss beyond. Veli fell to his knees, mumbling incoherently. Jonas realized they were trapped. They reached the old church, the last refuge. Inside, the final truth awaited them. The hum was the voice of the entity. Their arrival had been the missing piece, the final key. They were not random visitors. They were part of something much larger. Jonas understood there was only one way to stop it, a sacrifice. Someone had to stay behind and contain the entity while the other escaped to warn the world. Veli made the choice for him, locking himself inside the church as Jonas ran for the car. The road was open. He sped away, the village vanishing behind him. But before it disappeared completely, he heard Veli's final scream. Jonas reached the city. Everything seemed normal. But in the glass reflection of a storefront, something was off. His shadow no longer moved as he did. The hum started again, deep inside his skull. The ending remains open. Was he truly the only one who escaped? Or was the entity now within him? And if so, how much time did he have left?